Welcome everyone back to the channel. This is the best of the best countdown, and I am your host, Zach, here on the Yo Bro Nation YouTube channel, and this is episode number 10 for the best of the best countdown, and I am talking about the top 10 Christmas moments on WWE Raw. How's everyone doing here on the channel? Welcome back. Christmas time. It is Christmas time. Christmas time is a week away. And yeah, let me look at my calendar here. Yeah, it's a week away from today. So, oh my goodness, Christmas. Man. Christmas is, you know, it's funny. 2020 has like come and gone so fast. I'm in literal shock at how fast this year has come. But of course, next week is the start. It's almost like it's the last week basically that a lot of content's going to be done. I'll be on vacation by this time next week, so that's a plus. You guys I'm recording this in advance, obviously, but by this time next week, I will be in heaven just relaxing, enjoying my time with Susie, doing a whole lot of nothing, and it will be pretty good, actually. But we're only a couple of weeks away from the new year, and this year has flown by so fast, has it not? So that's exciting. I'm so ready. So ready to get through and to just get to 2021. And it's hard to believe that we're there. But before we even go there to the new year, we got to still talk about Christmas stuff, right? It's Christmas time. The channel's Christmas themed for the month. So let's go ahead and let's jump into this countdown. Top 10 Christmas moments on Raw. I'm sure there are plenty of bad Christmas moments, but these are the ones, and I'm not going to lie to you, it was hard to find some of these and to really get through them. Some more memorable than others, but let's go ahead and let's jump into those moments. So what does qualify as a moment on here? It's not necessarily like a specific moment. It's just something that happens on an episode of Raw, whether it was taped or whatever, that was kind of a big deal, or funny, or interesting. It's really just whatever, something that I found entertaining, and maybe some of this you guys found entertaining, but there is some matches in here, there are some moments, there's even some ads that are in here, so let's go ahead, let's jump into number 10, and starting us off, the number 10 on this countdown, quite actually interesting. But it's Jericho doing their Santa Claus ruse. This took place in 2009 on an episode of Raw. Of course, Big Show was kind of already a part of the Raw roster. They were the tag team champions, so you know, they kind of came in, but well, they were the tag team champions. They had just lost the titles. But it was just them coming on the show and Big Show basically having Santa sitting on his knees. It was just a big hodgepodge of stuff that was going on. But it was just interesting. Hornswoggle shows up. Jericho's dressed up as Santa Claus. It was just interesting seeing Chris Jericho sitting on the knee of Big Show dressed up as Santa Claus. Tell me that's not interesting, right? Tell me that you don't find that interesting. I found that to be fucking hilarious. It didn't have anything of any real consequence. They were on the verge of breaking up, and this was just interesting to me. Of course, they would eventually break up, and then Jericho would go on to eventually team with Edge. Or no, he'd already teamed with Edge. I've totally lost my mind. But Big Show would go on to then team with The Miz, and they would become tag team champions. And Jericho would go on to become the world champion a few months later, defeating The Undertaker inside Elimination Chamber. But for that one night, it was just funny. It was a funny moment, and seeing Hornswoggle come out and cause them issues, it was a comedy segment, right? We all know what that was and what it was for. But it was laughable, right? Let's move on to number 9. And here at number 9, this is what I meant by an ad segment. And that's literally all this was a segment for t-shirts. But it was a good segment. A funny segment. DX, this is their first of 2 appearances on this list. This, of course, was in 2009 as well. Shawn Michaels and Triple H selling DX merch for Christmas, and you got Shawn talking about his arms being cold, so Triple H is giving him a sweater. It was your typical DX antics taking place on the show. But it was another funny segment to see them, do what they do. I don't know how else to tell you. It was DX, actually, I think probably their funniest. Their 2006 run was funny, but this was so much funnier because there were a couple of dads telling dad jokes. And you just went with it because why not? It was funny, though. I don't know. I actually just rewatched the clip earlier today, and it was just funny. Period. It was just funny. I'm going to move on, though. So at number... My bad. At number 8, I almost jumped ahead. At number 8, this is the first match that shows up on the list. And this was a really, really good match. Mark Marrow taking on Triple H, who was the Intercontinental Champion at that time, in their third bout. This was on Raw for Christmas. This was a really, really good match. If you kind of go back and you rewatch it, a lot had went into this. Basically, if Helmsley was disqualified or counted out because they kept having issues at their other matches at the In Your House show and everything else, Marrow would win the title. It was a really good back and forth match that ultimately, Marrow makes one little mistake and Triple H is able to, he's able to take control, end up winning the match, and ends up being able to basically retain the championship. I'm not going to break down the match. It's a really fun match that took place on a Raw that was more or less subpar, but these two actually were really good workers together. So seeing them work here together was good. Every time I saw these guys have a match, I always thought their matches were good. This was also the build from WrestleMania. This was supposed to be the blow-off match, right? From WrestleMania to the Christmas episode. It was supposed to be the culmination of everything. Then Triple H would go on to face Ahmed Johnson at the Royal Rumble. Eventually Goldust would be inserted into the whole story. I'm pretty sure Ahmed Johnson, but it would all snowball. Ahmed Johnson, Goldust. He would move on from Mark Marrow after this, basically. Sorry, I'm not that prepared. But also, I apologize for the lighting being so off. It is really bright out today. And yeah, it's a really bright day out. So now I'll move on to number 7. Spoiler alert, you kind of already saw it. But number 7 here on the countdown. John Cena saves Christmas. Heck yeah, John Cena saves Christmas, right? Right? No? Okay. So the whole thing was Santino Marella was a heel at this time, right? And he's going around and he is trying to reveal the secret of Santa Claus. He's trying to tell kids, this is in 2008, and he's trying to tell all the kids, how he wants to tell them that Santa Claus isn't real, and he's out in the ring, he's gonna do it, and then Super Cena, or as he says, John Cena, I don't know. He comes out, and he stops it. You end up with a tag team match, and you end up with Trish Stratus as Cena's partner against him and Beth Phoenix, and Cena saves it. Cena, he helps all the children from revealing the secret that Santa's not real. That Santa isn't real. He is real, right, kids? He's real. But it was Cena in his heyday where he couldn't do nothing wrong. He was the World Heavyweight Champion. But it was a fun segment. Actually, I thought Santino as a heel was better than he was as a face anyways. So seeing him coming out to ruin kids' Christmas, bravo. It was actually when Santino was, he was tolerable. He was tolerable at that time. After that, though, once he went to back being a face again, oh, dear goodness. But actually, I did like the tandem of him and Beth Phoenix. I actually did kind of enjoy that, so. But yeah, Santino tries to ruin Christmas for all the kids, but John Cena. You was John Cena. I don't know. I suck at that. Let's move on. Let's just move on to number 6. One of the best matches ever on a Monday Night Raw Christmas special. The triple threat match. Jericho defending the World Championship against, two of the best, right? Two of the best in the business, if you really want to just think about it. Kurt Angle and The Rock. And this was, I believe, one of The Rock's final matches on a Raw. He had a few other matches afterwards, but this was his last Christmas special. I don't think he ever appeared on another one, now that I'm thinking about it. But it was a match of where it was like a pay-per-view caliber match. Honestly, it was a pay-per-view caliber match with these guys, being on here, competing for what was the most coveted championship in the WWE. Jericho had just won at Vengeance, not but like a week or two, just earlier that month. This was setting up his feud with The Rock going into the Royal Rumble, thus Kurt going into his feud. It was right before Triple H came back, so it was a great ending to Raw that year to then kick off Raw for the next year, which kind of goes into my next video next month with my best comebacks. Can't wait to see that one. But, the back and forth during the match, the ending with Jericho being the slimy heel, after Angle hits his move for The Rock to be pinned, but Jericho, being the heel that he is, sneaks in for the cover himself and wins the match. Actually, or it may have been The Rock hit a rock bottom. I mean, thinking about this. It was Kurt Angle. He ends up DDTing The Rock. Yeah, DDT'd The Rock onto a chair, but Jericho ended up getting the pin. So yeah, Angle, gets screwed, so he feels like he has a legitimate claim. The Rock gets pinned, so he has a legit claim to say, hey, sneaky tactics. And it all sets up for what goes on to the Royal Rumble heading into WrestleMania. And it was really interesting, right? It was good. It was enjoyable. Mostly. just enjoyable. But let's move on. We're now hitting our top 5, and at number 5, on that same show, actually, from 2001, McMahon and Austin have dueling Christmas parties. Clearly, McMahon's was not as interesting, right? We know this. McMahon did not have as good of a Christmas party as Austin was having. But, Vince, he brought in a bunch of the former WCW guys and ECW guys at this time. So, but, Austin had just became a face again after being heel for most of the year. And Austin's got, Tajiri in his... it was a lot of faces just popping in and out. Austin sings Jingle Bells and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Because Austin was in a phase where he wanted to sing. So that was... it was oh my God. This was actually probably my favorite version of Austin. Other than when, he was the real badass. Which we'll get to that later in the countdown. But Austin was funny. It's where you really saw his comedic timing really coming out. And you're like, oh, okay. But, Austin is, obviously, it's a way for him and McMahon to feud that was different from what they had already previously done. And I could sit here and try to describe this to you, or you could just go ahead, listen real close, or you could just go ahead and watch it. Because I'm telling you what, it was fucking great. Funny as shit. That's what it was. And I think that's why it breaks the top 5. Just Austin singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Because he was so tone deaf, and he knows he's tone deaf, but he's just willing to put himself out there. And Jingle Bells, Jingle. Even trying to do Austin impressions hurt my throat. Then you had Austin with his cool fun party and McMahon with his lame doll party. And it's oh yeah, this is so obvious. This is so obvious who's got the better party. And it was all just ways to eventually, by the end of the night, embarrass McMahon. Because that's what it always came back down to. Always. And forever. Moving on. I'm going to move on. Number 4. My God. If you ever want to know what it's like to see underappreciated, underachieving wrestlers, watch this match. Yes, it's a gimmicked match. Gift on a pole match, but Dolph Ziggler and Fandango put on one hell of a match. And the winner of this match would go on to be number 1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. It was a fucking hell of a match. Hell of a match. And it was a throwaway feud, but I'm not looking at the feud as a whole here. I'm just looking at the match itself as an individual match. These guys somehow took one of Vince Russo's favorite things and made it into a masterwork. No, it's not the greatest match ever. And I would probably say the triple threat match was better, but I put it higher on the list because for me, it was about the effort that these guys put into this match. Their effort was just great to me. It was great effort. And I can't help but appreciate them. I can't help but appreciate them for their effort in this match. Fandango, after all these near misses between the two guys going up the pole, gets the gift, which was stupid. The gift was just ridiculous. But Fandango wins the match, getting an IC title match, and obviously he didn't win, but it was a good match, man. And their effort to take dog shit and turn it into filet mignon was, I had to validate it. Plus, it's a really good match. Have I said that yet? That it was a really good match? Just go watch the match, man. It's that damn good. It is. It's really that good. But number 3, and clearly the best match on this list, maybe of the Miracle on 34th Street, okay? We know what this is. But this was when Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt were at the height of their feud. And oh my god, these guys, they did what a lot of people could not do. They made us have a match that was just... They took the concept that it was ridiculous, right? A ridiculous concept with... I mean... I don't know, but it was a ridiculous concept, the whole Miracle on 34th Street thing anyways. But they managed to take this and turn it, they took chicken shit and turned it into fried chicken, I guess. As I'm trying to think here, what can I say? But they did. They put in weapons. It was a legit brawl because these two, believe it or not, worked great together. And at the end of 13, 14, I believe. Yeah, 13 or 14. They did really good with what they had here. Using ladders and chairs and everything. But they gave the win to Wyatt, which was fine. But it was, since then they've done this Symphony of Destruction. They've done these Miracle on 34th Street street fights, I don't know, like 5-6 years in a row, something like that. But this was legitimately, really good. And the best part, there was, no comedy in this match. It was straight, he wants to beat him up, he wants to kill him, and it was good. And the way Wyatt and Ambrose contrasted each other was brilliant. The lunatic fringe and Bray Wyatt. And also, thinking about it, seeing them where they were here and where they are now, the contrast. Jon Moxley is doing... It's weird to even say Dean Ambrose, isn't it? Jon Moxley at this point being Dean Ambrose. Man, they so underutilized him, right? Thinking about that, they underutilized that poor guy, and damn, and even the way they treated Bray Wyatt at this time, that sucks. That legitimately sucks. But it was a great match, and I don't say good, it was great. This is a match I would say you could go watch on replay at any time, and it would be worth your while. It is just that good of a match. Really, it is. It is just that good of a match. I freaking love it. All right. Moving on to number 2. Number 2. DX. A very DX Christmas. This was DX at their raunchiest. Legitimately their raunchiest. Golly. I wouldn't really know what else to say because they're okay, so DX coming out, it was 1997. The Attitude Era was really starting to pick up, and on this episode, freaking Triple H was handed the European title, so this segment's happening. Owen Hart's getting involved in this segment and everything. It's, I don't know, but it's DX showing their rebellious side. They had to censor it. They're wearing the G-strings and, whatever. At that point, they're just kind of doing their thing, more or less. DX doing their thing. Chyna was there with an X on her ass with a bow. They're censoring, their hammocks in the front, their little bows in the back. I don't know. It was a funny segment. DX coming out. Shawn Michaels being the way he was being. I talked about earlier how they were really funny during their merch segment, in 2009. But, 12 years earlier, Shawn was a completely different person. Hunter was more or less the same guy, right? That's fair. But yeah, the shenanigans with the European title, Owen Hart coming out, because he wants a piece of Shawn Michaels, because what happened at the screw job in Montreal just a month earlier, a lot of different things popping in and out, during this segment. It was great. It was the Attitude Era in all of its glory. All of its glory. And it was all capped off with what was the number one moment on this list. And that was the Stone Cold, stunning Santa Claus. Stunning Santa Claus on Monday Night Raw. Well, the quote-unquote fake Santa Claus. Now, every list I went over when I was looking this and trying to compile mine, every one of these lists were topped with Austin giving Santa a stunner. And the whole thing was, he wasn't the real Kris Kringle, because he was messing with the child who I believe was Rikishi's daughter or one of the Fatu members' kid. And he was basically just kind of being an ass to this child. And Austin comes out. Austin beats him up. And it was glorious. This was when Austin was really like, I don't know. It was great. It was great. It was Austin, right before his big run started, he was just coming off of being Intercontinental Champion. He was getting ready to go into his Royal Rumble victory, which would lead to WrestleMania. And seeing him give a stunner to the fake Santa Claus, who, like I said, berated this poor child, was funny. But Austin, I think, ends up giving the gifts and all that other stuff. So it turned out okay. But seeing Austin, if nothing else, just seeing Austin give the stunner to Santa Claus is validation enough for me. But that's going to do it. That's my list. I maybe you don't think I was very super thorough or whatever, but it's just me fondly talking about it. Like, I'm not going into detail. It's just me talking about moments that I thought were really great. It's casual day here on the YoBro Nation. All right, I got Christmas to get ready for, man. I got Christmas to get ready for. But that was my list. Let me know what were your top 10 moments, or what was your favorite moment in Raw's Christmas history. Let me know down in the description below. Follow us on our social media. Some of that's changing come the new year, but all those links will be down in the description down below. So, until the next video, I am Zach, and I will talk to you guys later. Remember, stay safe, stay healthy, and above all else, join the nation. I will talk to you later.